Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, if I one-shot Uber Lilith, then that's great. I'm trying to right-click this. I can't. Oh, that's really annoying. That's really annoying. Okay, okay. I'm gonna die here, though. Yeah. Oh. Oh, I got nothing. So where's it gonna be? Okay. Yeah. And then we just kind of hope that... Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, really? She summoned already? I'm fighting the... Just come back here. I don't want to move. Why did I decide to do more attempts? This is so dumb. I don't know the mechanics. Look at what they did. Oh, that's so good. We're really, really close. I'm not going to eat if I keep doing this. We got server maintenance. We got a thunderstorm. Everyone's on crazy lag right now. It's really bad. This is not the right time. Oh, those do damage. Okay. So I stand... Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know this part of the fight yet. Ah. One of these, one of these, one of these, one of these. God damn it. I heard it. I didn't have fire. Come on, weapon swap. Oh my god, this game. Ah! What killed me? Everything. Like, it feels really bad. Oh my god. That's crazy. I had the wrong enchant the entire time. How is she not staggering? Cringe. Cringe. Ugh, there was nowhere. Why is my character... Oh, no.
What? Come on.
I thought I was going to get it today. Easily 100% tomorrow. Easily. All right. Start the pain train, guys. Huh? No, you... I'll never understand. I didn't have a... Love it when... I'm just gonna scuff this one. Oh, you're kidding me? Yeah, she did the thing. Uh-oh. Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Is this harder than PoE Ubers? Yes, by a lot. Fireballs, holy shit! That swapped pretty well. Yeah, whatever. What? Let's do it. Cringe. Jesus. What killed me? Oh, there's just fireballs during this phase. Why? Fireballs. The cast time. That was it. That was... There's a stupid terrain. That was it, man. That was the one. That was it. No, Viper, we already tried that. We tried all the color change and stuff. It doesn't help. It just makes it way worse. I don't even know if I want to do this phase. It's like not worth the time, right? I don't know. If she has that much HP, I have to do the full stagger. It's like a waste of time. The cult totem. That's always a throwback. God, that scared me that it killed me. Is the building across the street's on fire? Oh, shit. Don't do it. Don't. Let's go! Let's fucking go! Woo! Good morning and welcome. How's it going, guys? Well, it's 9 o'clock, but I just woke up. I had to take a nap because I was exhausted from 3 days of grinding out this Uber Lilith fight. And man, is it super cool. I am genuinely so relieved, honestly, to have it finally done. And I am so excited to talk about it with you guys today. This is really the example of best in class boss fight I've ever seen. I love the boss fights in Path of Exile. They're really cool. You know, there's a lot of variance on what you like and what you don't like there in terms of just epic scale and all that. They're really, really cool. There's awesome boss fights in historical ARPGs, particularly looking at something like Marvel Heroes. But in terms of like really integrating modern boss design, incredible mechanics, incredible just build up, epic soundtrack, and something that takes a lot of work to actually get done, have that real reward of accomplishing something really challenging and the relief of getting it done. And having it, for me, I like to have a cosmetic reward that kind of stays with you, that, you know, isn't tied to just grinding out loot, which comes in the form of the Bloody Steed, which, you know, you can't really tell on the horse, but you do get the title of Lilith's Doom. I'm using Lilith's Devil right here, which I think is really cool. And I hope that they keep this boss fight challenging all the time. I would really love if they did boss fights like this. They kept them pinnacle, and it was always a big accomplishment to do it. And it wasn't something that gets trivialized by our characters getting stronger, you know, capped power level or something that scales. What you saw in the intro was me going through all of the circles of hell, I guess, to figure out this boss fight and learn it. You do go to kind of a dark place as you're just grinding it out and trying to figure out all of these intricate mechanics. but when it all clicks and you finally accomplish it, man, it just feels really good. So what I want to do today is go deep into exactly how I did this. This isn't going to be a general boss guide for doing the fight. I do want to recommend you to Ben's guide. He is the best ARPG player, hands down. Really proud that he's a Path of Exile player as well. That translated to being also the best Diablo 4 player. And no one's even close. I don't think you can even argue that. His guide was really good for just walking through the mechanics and his understanding of it. You know, I really like how he teaches things. But I want to talk about how I did it specifically, particularly adapting Northwar's build into how I did this, because I don't have his exact gear and there's so many other contingencies and extra factors. In the end, I don't really feel like I even cheesed the fight because I had to do all of the mechanics because I wasn't able to skip any of them. So what this build is, this is a sorcerer. It is a Blizzard Ice Spikes based sorcerer. So the idea is that we use our Blizzard spell here. Let me get out of town to show you the skill. So normally when you cast Blizzard, it's just Blizzard. It puts this little frosty area on the ground. It does a damage over time. It is not direct damage. It has a high chance of lucky hit, 46%. The way that I understand damage over time with lucky hit is it'll roll when you cast the spell, but it'll happen a random time over the duration of it. So since this is an 8-second skill, that lucky hit could proc any time within those 8 seconds if it rolled on the initial cast, if that makes sense. You can cast it multiple times in one area to stack it up, chill, stagger the bosses quicker. But if you look at my abilities, you'll notice I only have 1 point in Blizzard, because what we're building around is something called Ice Spikes. There are 3 aspects in the game that give you Ice Spikes. 1 for Frost Armor, 1 for Blizzard, and 1 for Deep Freeze. And each one gives your Ice Spikes a unique characteristic, which then applies to all of your Ice Spikes. So if you have the Frost Armor Ice Spikes aspect and the Blizzard one, even the Ice Spikes summoned by Frost Armor will still get the bonuses from the Blizzard effect. So the way that Glacial works is your Blizzard will now summon Ice Spikes. And so now when I cast Blizzard, you'll see these spikes come out of the ground and then they do an explosion. And that's it. And that's what they are. You'll notice that they have a base damage of 2026 right here. If you have a perfect roll, it is 2180. And I believe if you get it on a high enough item level item, you can get it higher than that. But 2026 is also exactly what Northwar had on his build as well. And what we want to do is we want to put this on an amulet, which makes it 50% stronger. Usually this number only goes up to about 1500, but because it gets 50% stronger on an amulet, it goes up to 2000. And then in combination with that, we don't care about this roll because we don't care about the ice spikes that come out of Deep Freeze for their damage, but we want to do this one, which makes the explosion radius bigger. So if you notice how big the explosion is right here, you'll notice that they're kind of tiny, right? And if I equip this, you'll notice that they got much, much bigger. And if you're familiar with something like Toxic Rain and Path of Exile, or any overlapping, explosive type of thing in any game, the bigger the radius, the more overlap they are, the more effective damage that you're actually doing with the more overlaps. And then you'll notice that if I cast more and more and more and more, even more come out more quickly, right? And that's the scaling of my damage. Because with Mage's Blizzard right here, if you cast it above 50 mana, the duration is increased by 4 seconds up to 8 seconds. I have an 8-second damage ramp time with my Blizzard. So I want to cast for about 8 seconds in one place before I have full damage ramp. And then the idea with that, if you are familiar with how Sorcerer works in this game, Sorc is the lowest damage character in the game by a lot, except for one thing. We have one thing that makes us one of the highest damage characters in the game, and that is the control aspect. What this is on a two-handed weapon, you deal up to 70% more damage to a mobilized, stunned, or frozen enemy. I've heard people on both sides say, hey, it's additive, hey, it's multiplicative. I haven't tested this directly myself, but because how much more damage I definitely do with this, I lean to say that this is individual multiplier. When a boss is staggered, they count as immobilized, stunned, and frozen. So at the very minimum, this is 210% more damage for making you do 3.1x damage. My understanding of it is they are individual multipliers, which means 1 times 1.7 times 1.7 times 1.7 for 4.9x damage. So yeah, doing 4.9x your damage is absolutely crazy, but that is only when the boss is staggered. So the whole idea here is we're trying to build up that stagger meter. Definitely check out my last video if you want to understand some of the mechanics there. But we want to build up that boss's stagger meter, and then when they go into stagger mode, then we get all of these multipliers for dealing 490% more damage. And so what we're doing is we're actually using a one-hander, which gives us mana cost reduction, faster cast speed with 1.2 attacks per second. And we get multiple aspects here, including being able to use smiting, which gives us 40% more as a multiplier increased crowd control duration, which, as far as we understand from our testing, especially combined with exploiters right here, is that increased crowd control duration actually scales how much the stagger meter builds up. So by using both exploiters, which is 20% additive, combined with smiting, which is 40% multiplicative. And then I have a little bit here on my helmet as well. So you have 1.35 times 1.4. So I have 89% increased crowd control duration. I'm getting close to double the stagger meter build than I would usually. We're using Immobilize with Flame Shield, so when I walk through a monster with Flame Shield, they get immobilized. I am using Raiment to the Infinite, which makes my teleport stun. I'm using Frost Nova, which does a freeze, which also builds the stagger meter. And then Blizzard itself, since it is a chill effect. There is a max chill effect, and since we are stacking so much Blizzard, we're hitting the max chill effect all the time, so we can't scale that anymore. We're using all of those to build the stagger meter as quickly as possible. And then right before she staggers, we actually want to swap into our two-hander, which then has that control aspect. And then all of our damage that we had ramped up will then get 4.9x damage. And then we go to full DPS phase. And then the idea is we just want to do as much damage as possible while she's staggered. The other thing I'm doing here is I'm using a Prodigy's Ring for sustaining my mana during the stagger phase. And then I'm also swapping this out with a Conceited Ring for 25% more damage while I have a barrier active. We want to stagger her at full mana. Then I don't care about my mana sustain anymore. We fully dump our mana. We get 25% more damage on top of that. So that's the basic theory. And if you saw Northwar's kill, he killed her in less than 2 minutes. He had better gear. He hit everything perfectly. He was able to stagger her a little bit better than me because of his gear. Whereas for me, I had to go through all of the boss mechanics. And I came up with some contingency plans allowing me to deal with all of those boss mechanics and feel very comfortable with it, actually. And I really want to focus on the mechanics here of how I did it, my swaps and the little tech that I did. The build itself is really, I am 95% the same as Northwars, so I'm just going to link you guys to his max roll guide. There isn't too much of a difference here. The one difference that I made from Northwars build, I took 1 point out of teleport, 2 points out of protection. I really think that that is unnecessary. And I put 3 points into Frigid Breeze. I had pretty severe mana issues. He had a roll on his gear for getting mana back on Lucky Hit. I do not have that. And so I put 3 points into Frigid Breeze here, which made a huge difference for sustaining my mana. The other thing that he didn't do is he was using control on his offhand, which kinda is pointless to me. I think he just didn't need anything else on his offhand. But I put Frozen Memories here, which makes Avalanche work for 1 additional cast, which also helps with the mana sustain quite a bit. Besides that, my build is exactly the same as his, so I will just point you to his max roll guide for, everything you need to know there. My Paragon board is not exactly the same as his, but I tried to make it as close as I could. I just didn't want to spend a lot of money like rotating my boards, but it's 95% the same as his. So yeah, let's just go over the mechanics of the kill and my understanding. So I'm going to go really, really deep here. I spent 20 hours grinding it. So if you want to learn exactly how to do it, I'm just going to dump everything that I can on you guys. Buckle up and let's start talking about it. Oh, and then very quickly before we go into the fight, for elixirs, since we have no crit chance direct scaling, since the ice spikes don't count as a normal skill that we have, it's really hard to get crit chance there. I have 36% crit chance and 200% critical strike damage. That gives me 108% more damage without any elixirs. With a heady precision elixir, this one is craftable. This is our second best elixir. This gives us 6% base crit as well as 35% more crit damage, giving us 41% crit chance and 235% damage. This is 137% more damage. And then, most annoyingly, but best off, is the Elixir of Cruelty. It is drop only from Helltides. But you can see for 15% base crit chance, this brings us up to 51% crit chance for 153% more damage. It is significantly better than the Heady Precision Elixir. This is good enough where if you have good gear, you can do this. You can craft this one on yourself. All right, so phase 1, we have our one-hander on. We're walking up to Lilith, and we can basically just stand there and face tank everything. The idea is we want to stand exactly in the middle of the arena, spam all of our abilities in the middle of the arena, and then stagger her. Build our stagger bar as much as possible. And yeah, so let's just start it. So walking up, I want to walk over to the left. I'm going to cast 2 or 3 blizzards right here. Then I'm going to do an ice blades. Then I'm going to pop my ice armor, get my mana back up. And then you just want to get this rhythm of this rotation of I get mana back, right? With the Prodigy's aspect, I get mana back every time I use a cooldown. We're also using ice blades here, which applies vulnerable, gives us more cooldown recovery on all of our skills. You want to keep your ice blades up as much as possible every time that cooldown is available, and just spam all of your cooldowns. And then the idea is when she's at about 85 to 90% stagger, you swap to your two-hander. Then right when she's about to stagger, you hit your Frost Nova, which guarantees a 6-second vulnerable uptime, and then just sit there and spam as much as possible. And hopefully you can one-phase her. I did not in my kill, which allows me to demonstrate the rest of phase 1. But if you are lucky, if you saw Northwar's kill, you can fully one-phase her. Walk up, cast a couple blizzards, walk in. The big thing that I'm doing here is I'm trying to keep my mana as high as possible. Really getting your rotation on your damage and your cooldowns here is everything that's important. So I'm sitting there looking at my cooldowns, I'm looking at my mana, and I'm looking at her stagger bar, and I'm looking at all of them. This took a full day and a half to get the rhythm down. I was not consistently getting to phase 2 until the end of day 2, honestly. It's entirely about having the right elixir, making sure your build is correct, and getting this rhythm down of like knowing exactly when to swap to a two-hander. I actually swapped to a two-hander a little late here. That's why I don't fully phase her in the first phase. So I want to swap a little bit earlier than this. This is her stagger meter right here. You want to do it a little bit lower, about where her HP bar is a good place to swap. And you'll notice that my Frost Nova has 6 seconds remaining. So I'm going to kind of slow down a little bit because the Ice Blade's vulnerable uptime is kind of flaky. It's not very good. So we really want to make sure that our Frost Nova is ready to go right when she staggers. So we have the most damage uptime. So I want to swap my two-hander. I want to swap in the damage ring. I want to make sure that my mana is full when I do swap because I lose prodigies. Then as soon as she staggers, I just go all out, spam all of my abilities. So yeah, you can see that I didn't have the Frost Nova right when she staggered. Did the most damage that I could. You know, that's about the best that I could do. You can actually see it here. I'll put myself in the I'll put myself over here and you can see my face. You can see my disappointment when she doesn't phase all the way. Yep. Not too happy about that. All right. Then becomes phase 1.6 is what I'm going to call this. So phase 1 basically has the initial phase where she doesn't do many moves. The one thing to watch out for is she'll do this big wave move where she jumps backwards. Sometimes her AI will also just make her go to the edge of the arena. In that case, you actually just want to reset. You saw that in the intro. If she did the wave thing, I just let her kill me, and it wasn't really worth continuing the fight. It's very easy to dodge, but you don't even want to because your DPS uptime goes way down. So if she does that, just reset the fight. Make sure that the AI doesn't do that. Usually, she'll just stand in one place, just stand there. You can tank all of her stuff. You're invincible most of the time with your flame shield uptime. Then during phase 1.5, there's 2 different phases of phase 1.5. So I'm saying like 1.5, 1.65, 1.75, where the first one, she will summon a bunch of girthy guys, the little baby butchers. If you see those guys, you didn't do enough damage. So if you see those guys, you reset the run. You want to make sure you do at least 60% of her health. Honestly, I think you need to do about 70 to 75% to not summon those guys, because that just means it takes way, way longer. You have to do 3 times as much for phase 1. If you see the baby butchers, just reset the run. If you did enough damage, you will see the oppressors, the demons with a sword, get spawned. They don't do anything scary at all. These guys, this means you did enough damage. You can basically ignore these guys. You can kill them really, really quickly. The camera will zoom out when she summons them. When you kill them all, the camera will zoom back in. Oh, and I do want to talk about the camera. You'll notice that I'm playing in windowed mode. I don't normally play in windowed mode. I don't want to play in windowed mode. But look at how much more screen real estate that I get. I went to windowed mode, and then all I did was I squeezed it vertically. So look at how little screen real estate I have. With my inventory open, I can't even see my mana. Look at how much more screen real estate I have. I can see my whole mana. There's extra area right here. But in game, normally when I'm not playing windowed, this is regular, 1440p. This is ultra widescreen. It makes a huge difference, particularly for this part of the fight. So yeah, if you want that ultra widescreen experience, it makes a really big difference. She will summon these oppressor guys. Oh, also, she will always be summoning these little volatile bloods on the ground. You have to kill them. They can be stunned, they can be frozen, but if they explode, they will one-shot you. You see this little debuff right here, this number 7. Every time she summons one, it puts a debuff on you. It's basically an enrage timer. It's a very soft enrage, just 1% increased damage taken for every blood boil. As long as the fight doesn't go 15, 20 minutes, you're not really going to notice this, but you do have to kill those blood boils. They killed me a number of times when my cooldowns weren't up. So make sure that you kill those. And then when we're in phase 1.5, the one thing that I did is I have this wand swap. So my normal one-hand setup is I have smiting and then I have frozen memories right here. But you'll notice that I'm not using control because we just want to go into full DPS with control here. However, since we want to kill those blood boils and we want to kill those oppressors ASAP, I actually want to use control. And so I don't really care about building the stagger meter here because Lilith's going to be up in the air. She's going to be gone the whole time. So we don't care about her stagger meter anyway. And so I have my really good wand here. This is my normal wand that I use when I'm playing. We want this with control here. This allows us to kill the blood boils and the oppressors way quicker. So I swap this in when we get to phase 1.5. She has 3 different slam attacks that she does. She will fly up into the air. Sometimes she will do a triangle. And I'm going to talk about how I did it. Definitely refer to the Ben video if you want to know how he did it and how he was able to avoid it. Because we're Sorks, we have the ability to go invincible in a few different ways. I did learn how to dodge it, but it's a lot easier to just go invincible and just keep our DPS uptime. So that's what I'm going to focus on right here. Our 2 skills that we have are Flame Shield and Deep Freeze. So what I do going into phase 1.5 is I swap in my control wand, and then I press S right here, and I put in Deep Freeze over Ice Armor. What Deep Freeze is an additional ability that allows us to go invincible. While we're in this phase, we can heal ourselves. We can use potions. We go fully invincible. It does also spawn ice spikes because we have the frozen tundra here, which is kind of nice for clearing the ads. Then we also have flame shield, which heals us, makes us run faster, and makes us fully invincible and unstoppable. In my boots, I have +4 to the rank of flame shield. Since my flame shield is level 5, it actually lasts for 2.4 seconds, which is really nice. Gives us a lot more slush room for mistakes. I'll put in that control wand, and I'll put in deep freeze right here. She has 3 different slam attacks. She will do the triangle slam attack with proper use of ice blaze. That's always giving us our cooldowns back. Your flame shield should basically be available every single time that she slams. Sometimes she slams a little bit more often. That's why we kind of have deep freeze as a backup. In worst case, we can teleport out if we need to, if you learn the pattern. We always want to be standing at the very edge of the arena. This means that she will center her attacks on us. If we mismanage our cooldowns, we can teleport out and get over here if we need to. This is the triangle slam attack. This is the triangle. So we could teleport over here, save our teleport. But since I have Flame Shield, I want to do my most damage uptime. I want to kill those oppressors as quickly as possible. We just press Flame Shield. We stand here. And this also gives us more uptime on Lilith as well, because this slam will be centered on us. This will also have 3 shadow slams as well that will be pretty big. And then the wave will go in a clockwise fashion right here. So you can use that as well for information for if you want to, like, how to get out and how to navigate this. So yeah, slams right on us. Just stay there. Keep doing damage. All right, I have deep freeze. I have teleport. I haven't killed the oppressors yet. I'm probably going to deep freeze this. Yep, just deep freeze it. Another triangle slam. Stay on there, kill all of the ads. All the blood boils are gone. Oh, we got new blood boils. She just summoned new ones, 2 more. All the oppressors are gone. You'll notice that the camera's zoomed in. And now what we're doing, she's going to slam over and over and over again for like a solid minute or 2. So this is just going to repeat. We're just going to keep using our cooldowns to become invincible during these slams and trying to get our stagger meter up on her, killing those blood boils, keeping them frozen and stunned. And yeah, it's pretty easy once you learn it. This killed me dozens and dozens and dozens of times. But once you learn it, it's a very satisfying thing to learn it. So this is one of the wave patterns. So you'll see the center wave. They will start where the line is and it'll travel down to where it's facing. Now there's 2 different patterns here. So what this is, you know, we get the first line, the second line, and the third line. She'll slam this, and then she'll slam these 2 right here. Another one will show right here, and then go this way. So you have to stand way back here if you want to avoid this. And then the other pattern, which really throws you off, is the lines will be right here. These will go this way, but then there will be one that goes this way, and then one that goes this way. Basically, all you have to do is then go to the side, and then these are safe over here. This is where you want to go. So yeah, those are the patterns, but we are focusing on being invincible and not worrying about it. We always want to keep our flame shield available so we can just totally ignore the mechanic. All right. So yeah, you can see that she spawned a second one right after the first one. So I actually navigated this properly regardless. So I still tried to navigate it properly in case my flame shield wasn't used properly. We just walk over to the side and then we get the additional wave down the middle. There's always 2 waves down the middle. And then that's what we're doing. These moves, they will hit pretty hard, but just spam your potions. You know, you'll see that she dropped a lot of potions on the ground. Just spam them. You're good to go. Keep your flame shield up. Always keep your ice blades as much as possible. That will recover your cooldown as much as you can. Spam your cooldown. Spam your teleport for stun, ice blades, frost nova, everything to get your stagger meter up as much as possible. And yeah, we're just trying to be invincible during all these slams. With the proper cooldown usage here, you never have to dodge a single slam, which is pretty nice. Nothing interesting or new happens here for a while. She will just keep doing these slams. So once the stagger meter starts getting pretty close, since her HP is so low here, we don't care about a perfect damage uptime. We just want to swap to our 2-hander after she staggers, and she should die pretty quickly and go into phase 2. She looks like she's about to stagger here. Should be pretty quick. Yep. As soon as you see that stagger, switch to your 2-hand. I didn't even bother, right? It didn't even matter. She was so close to dying. All right. And now phase 2. My favorite. So what I'm doing here, we're actually going to do a double skill swap. We're going to go back to our crowd control 1-hander. We're going to put Ice Armor back over Deep Freeze because Ice Armor is a cooldown, which gives us a barrier, gives us more damage, also gives us more mana, which allows us to maintain our damage uptime a lot more sustainably. But after the first stagger phase, we're actually going to put Deep Freeze back in because we need it. We need Deep Freeze to survive phase 2. So we're going to do a double skill swap right here. Make sure we get our smiting wand back on as well. So we swap that in. Lilith is going to spawn in the middle right here. As soon as we see the blood puddles start to spawn in the middle right here, we start spamming our blizzard, spam all of our non-staggering cooldowns, which means basically just our ice blades and our ice armor. Keep our mana as high as possible, but our blizzard cast as high as possible. The ideal here is we want to stagger her before she summons the blood puddles. Those puddles will spawn a lot of fireballs, and they are the source of a lot of pain. Those are the thing that make this fight the hardest, by far the hardest part about the fight, and the fewer puddles on the ground, the better. So she will spawn 4 at the very beginning of the fight unless you stagger her quickly enough. I believe in this one, I did not stagger her enough, so we get the full mechanics. So I had to do the full mechanics, but you can stagger her a little bit quicker and avoid the puddles. So we're going to go into full damage, get the smiting wand back on. Going to go into full damage, spam all of our stuff, just ice armor, just our ice blades, keep our mana as high as possible. And then as soon as she spawns, I spam everything, get all of that stagger meter up as much as possible. And then I want to swap into my two-hander ASAP and the ring. She got the blood puddles up, unfortunately. We do as much damage as possible. Here, if I did over 50%, I was pretty happy. This was a really good damage phase. Really, really good. So these are the blood puddles. You'll see that she spawned all 4 of them right here. Kind of a pain in the butt. We'll talk about fireballs in a second. So she has 4 different parts of phase 2. Every tick that you get her HP down, she will destroy a part of the platform. She's basically going to make a tarred ground. She will do a wave attack on the tarred ground. You have to dodge all that. The part where she's breaking the platform is going to be bright red. You stand on that. That's actually the safe zone. Red is safe. But then she will break it, so you have to be off of it before she breaks it. Then wait until that wave from the tarred ground dissipates. Since we've already done over 50% HP, she's going to do 2 of the platform breaks in a row. Normally, she would just do tarred ground, and you could stand in the safe space, and she's not going to break the platform. But she's going to break the platform every time since we did enough DPS here. So these blood puddles will be spawning fireballs during the platform break phase. The fireballs will one-shot you. They go faster than your character. The big weakness that I had is my good amulet that I have here has no movement speed on it. And this made the fight significantly harder. I think it's pretty mandatory probably to have a +3 evade charge boot. But on top of that, I would really love if I could replace that enemies are burning damage reduction with movement speed, because it would have made a big difference. Those fireballs go faster than me. So I have to spam my evade charges, teleport, and they turn kind of slowly, but they turn faster than you think. They will one-shot you, so I have to use Flame Shield to run faster, and then I have to deep freeze at the very end to make sure that they don't kill me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around the right side right here. I want the fireballs to be kind of coming towards me at the bottom first. I want to go past this. I'm going to teleport over this guy. Because my character's too slow, I have to teleport over this guy. I can't really navigate it. We're going to position ourselves right around here and then just walk around the edge as long as we can, just to make sure those fireballs don't hit us. So we see this tarred ground immediately. This tarred ground won't do any damage initially until the fire wave comes out of the middle. It'll kind of propagate from the bottom up to the top, out of the middle. And it lasts really, really long also. So now, as soon as she does the flame platform destroy right here, you'll see these fireballs come out of the blood puddles. They shoot very quickly. They move very, very quickly. The only downside that they have, their only weakness, is that they turn kind of slowly. So that's what we got. So I'm going to sit here and spam my evade charges. I actually used my flame shield early there because I got so scared. I had so many fireballs coming at me. I had to use my flame shield. A problem that I had is I was conserving my cooldowns too long. Just use them. Don't just sit there and hold on to them trying to go for the perfect kill. Just use your cooldowns. You're going to regret all of the time that you spent if you didn't use them. If you die with your cooldowns, right? That's the worst feeling. So I use my flame shield early. This gives me 25% movement speed. Then I teleport down, deep freeze. The other thing that Lilith will do about 50% of the time is she will then do a spin, suck, slam, where she will do a spin. It will pull you in, which if there's a fireball between you and her, it'll pull you directly in the fireball and kill you. Usually onto a blood puddle as well, which will be doing damage over time. And then she'll do a slam, which will one-shot you. Flame shield and deep freeze will get around that. But you'll see in the second part that I have to use evade charges to get around it. Luckily, she didn't do it this time because she's going directly into another platform break. So the second platform break is over on the right side here. You can see that I'm positioning myself towards the beginning of where the blood puddle is. This way I can just teleport over it or use my flame shield to get through it early and just repeat the exact same thing I just did in phase 1. So we're just walking here, waiting till the fireballs start. Go around the entire edge here. Use your flame shield early. Now, I know that she's going to do the spin, slam, suck right here. Spin, slam, spin, suck slam. She's going to do the spinning suck slam. I know she's going to do this. So what I want to do is I want to kind of kite the fireballs up here, teleport down. It's going to take them a while to get down to me. And then I want to go in a loop where then the suck will actually pull me away from the fireballs. I kind of use the suck to help me. And then I just spam my potions and my evades to go back up. I don't have to worry about the fireballs anymore, and we're good to go. So here, spam my evades, spam my evades. and my potions, and we get away. We don't have to worry about the fireballs now. Just one scary move that we have to worry about here. She will get very angry. She will scream. There will be a red aura. This wave comes out of her. Then she will summon a clone. Her and the clone will just do these wave attacks in a circle. They will do these trident attacks at you that will one-shot you. If your character is fast enough, you can run in a circle and dodge it. I never successfully dodged it. I basically just used deep freeze to get around it. You do have to watch out for that. You'll see that in the last half of this. But here, I know she's ready to stagger. I'm ready to go into full DPS phase. So I just teleport in, pop everything, stagger her, swap to my two-hander. I don't even worry about the ring swap right now because I know I have to do 2 more phases regardless. She also has a blood puddle spawn ability. You'll see a red circle on the ground. If she does that, you do want to center it on a blood puddle. It will always kill all the blood puddles that it is cast on. You really want to manage that so there's not too many. Blood puddles that are on the platform she destroys also go away if you haven't noticed. So blood puddle management is a really big thing. Again, in the Ben video, he talks about it very extensively. So going into the final phase right here, this is where I start to get a little shaky. I get a little nervous because I know that this could be the one. She's at very low health, and there's basically nothing to worry about. The thing to watch out for is in the final phase, after the second platform break, whenever she does an attack, there will be fireballs from the puddles. So that makes the fight significantly harder, so you have to watch out for that. But luckily, I don't think I have to worry about that too much here. Yeah, actually, when she did her slam attack, it destroyed the final blood puddle, so I got very lucky right there. When she slammed down, she actually destroyed that final puddle. We have no puddles in the final phase, which makes a huge difference. If there was one puddle here, I'd have to use a flame shield to dodge those fireballs. So we go back into our one-handed setup. We're going to do the final platform break. Since there's no puddles here, I can actually use this as a stagger phase. So normally I'd have to be walking around the edge, dodging any fireballs, any puddles or anything. But since there aren't any, we don't have to worry about that. I can start standing on the platform and building that stagger meter, which I'm going to do right now. Then you have to get off the platform. All right, I'm getting real nervous right here. She's about to stagger. Now, this was a real close call. Let's rewind a little bit and show why I did my deep freeze. I mentioned the get angry red aura effect. I had a lot of problems with visibility in this fight. Everything is red. But she's about to do a scream. So that's scream right there. That is the red aura that comes out of her. That scream is very scary. That means she's about to summon a clone that you can't stop. As soon as she does that scream, even if you stagger her right here, the clone will come out. It'll do these triangle attacks that will absolutely take you out. And she'll be doing it as well. So be very careful about that. So when I see this red, I just immediately do a deep freeze. So you will see that she has a clone right here. And she's going to do these really scary triangle attacks coming out. And these will one-shot you. They're really, really scary. So I just sit in my deep freeze. Now I get really lucky right here. I actually don't know how I didn't die to this. Oh, I popped my flame shield. Yeah. So I popped my flame shield at the very second I came out of deep freeze. That is what kept me alive. I am standing in the middle of the final clone attack right here. Right there. Yep, another one right there. Actually, 2 more clone attacks. Then I go into DPS phase. She staggers.
Let's go.
And let's go.
Go.
So, yeah, that's it, man. That's the fight. It's a cool fight. I'm so happy about it. If you have any other questions, there's always a lot of little details. It took me over 20 hours of attempts and more than that on stream of me farming for it, doing hell tides to get more materials for flasks, all that type of stuff. There's a lot of little things that you can look for. I tried swapping in Fists of Fate. They didn't work out for me. A stat that you really want to look out for that I didn't have is the chance to restore primary resource on lucky hit. I did not have that. That would have made a big difference for me for mana sustain. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you everyone that hung out during the streams and everything and watched me descend into madness as I grinded this out. If you take down Uber Lilith without like full cheese, you know, if you don't skip all the phases and you have to learn all the mechanics and everything, seriously, it's a big accomplishment. And even if you do, right, like it's hard. So yeah, big props if you take her down. I'm very, very proud of it. Like, besides winning the hardcore solo self-found Delve race for Trickster last year, I don't think there's a gaming accomplishment that I'm more proud of than doing this in recent memory. Say what you will about the rest of Diablo 4, but doing that, overcoming that, especially seeing how the patch was, I'm probably going to make a video on the patch tomorrow. I'm really encouraged and excited for Season 1. Definitely pop in the stream anytime, twitch.tv/subtractum. If you have any questions or anything, I would love to help you take down Uber Lilith, give you some tips. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Goodbye.
Soldiers, thugs, and gangbangers, just like we showed you that last part of your life, but now it's changed to the newer era. Sick, even more colder than whatever. Yo, it's time I moved on. I put my title up. Everybody got to beat it. It's time you hung it up. Optional. The level you on, you better settle. This would have been the closest you got to the medal. If you plan to start from scratch, you gotta fight your way up. It's all about the victory and who's getting ate up.